Silver and bronze, the high bar from the Tacoma Dome. They've already been getting high marks from the audience for their warm-ups. And the first man up will be Valeri Liukin, who started off this final night of men's gymnastics by winning the floor exercises, about 2 hours ago. And he will be the first up in the high bar. Tim, if you have to pick favorites, I guess, again, you go to the two Soviets, Liukin, and the other one, Sherba, and the two Americans, Dimas, and of course Lance Ringnauld, who shared the high bar medal in our own national championship. Well, first things first, and here's a Soviet. That is Valeri Liukin.
That's right. The Americans here have a legitimate shot at not just a medal, but a gold medal. But buckle your seatbelts at home, folks.
This is something.
And get ready for complete, reckless abandon. Starts right here. Tkachev way in the air. And he's not done. The only one in the world to do this skill. A full twisting front flip out of inverts. And he makes it look so easy. One more big one, a triple back. Oh!
And that can cost Valeri a chance for the gold. Normally, and we've been watching now for 3 days in this particular Goodwill competition, they have stuck nearly every single landing, and this time Liukin did not.
Well, I am stunned, especially from this guy. He's about the toughest guy you'll ever come across, but here's his first release skill, extremely difficult. And now, like I said, the only gymnast in the world to perform this, a laid out full twisting front from inverts. And he grabs it, just a small form break. But here is where it all went bad. Well, no, going to look once again at his full twisting front. You'll notice right on there. This is a very interesting vantage point to see just exactly how critical the hands are. Now watch, he holds on to this just a little bit too long, lands on his heels, and his feet just slip out from underneath them.
And being the first competitor in this particular apparatus, they're taking a little extra time for the score of Valeri Liukin. And waiting is Li Shuachuang, who last night in the all-around on this particular event fell not once but twice. So here, 9 out of 10, 15 medals. The Soviets have just won in the Goodwill Games. Hey, there's a smile from Valeri.
Well, he's already won a gold medal here, so I'm sure he would have preferred to bring another one home with him in his suitcase to the Soviet Union, but such a personable young man, really a nice guy.
9-4, oh, that's very disappointing. 9-4, oh, that just about eliminates him from any possibility. You can just surprisingly scratch Liukin from the medal contention. Now here's Li Shuachuang, who is capable, but as we said, not once but twice he fell last night with a chance in the all-around in this final apparatus.
And we have watched him in practice do some very beautiful work on the high bar, but as Jim said, he had a disastrous performance yesterday.
Let me give you one more statistic. He is 16. He is now in international competition. There's a lot of pressure on this young man.
But obviously a brilliant future ahead. His major skill comes right off the bat. It's a Kovacs over the bar, happens right here.
Uh-oh, there he goes again. And that will take him out.
You know what's very interesting here, Jim? I saw him take about 3 major falls in warm-ups one day, and since that time, I don't believe he's caught this release. It's just he really took not just falls, but they were actually quite dangerous types of falls, and he's just a little bit shook. I think he needs to get home and do that in a safer environment before he's going to be confident enough to do a skill like that again.
As we watch Lee complete his performance on the high bar, keep in mind Dimas is next, the American.
Well, he has all but conceded his medal opportunity. He opted to take virtually everything else out of his routine and just get off the bar at that point, which is probably a smart decision.
The surprise is not that young Li Shuachuang fell, but rather that Valeri Liukin came up with a 9-4 performance. That's your big surprise thus far. And as we said, Dimas is next. And you can hear the crowd already getting ready for Trent as he walks out from Albuquerque, 19 years old. And he's the one that had such a great pyramid challenge against the East Germans earlier this year.
Now watch this, just inches away, but unfortunately, an inch might as well be 1,000 miles when you're talking about a release on a high bar skill.
He awaits his score. Trent Demas, this is absolutely his best event.
Bar none, Jim, and he scored a perfect, well, close to a perfect 10, a 9.9 in the team competition. Really helped to rally the U.S. team to its silver medal performance in the team competition. Right there, the man in the tan suit is about as famous as you get in the sport of gymnastics. You've heard us refer to it several times during our broadcast. The Ginger skill on the high bar. That is the world famous Eberhard Ginger, who originated one of the first release skills on the high bar. Before his generation, it was thought to be impossible to actually let go of the bar and re-grasp.
Some people may say, since Lee fell and took everything out of the rest of his performance, what are they taking so long for the score for? You would just think that it's not a good score.
Well, it does seem academic at this point. However, they really do, for the integrity of the sport and just to make sure they don't create any problems, they should come up with his exact score, even though he is not going to win a medal.
Demas has an outstanding chance, but we've seen 2 disappointments thus far within the first 2 competitors.
And this certainly does not help Trent's cause. I know I've been in this situation many, many times in a finals and hoping to get out there and show a great routine, and it's just they're holding you back, and you want to get out there.
There it goes, 8-2, 8-2. So Trent will now be able to go after they come up with the 8-2. Now here is the co-champion in the national championships of the United States, Trent Demas. The crowd is with him. He's got the smile, looks confident. Let's see how he does.
Well, he may have smiled for us, Jim, but I'm sure he's a very nervous person at this point. This is a big moment for Trent, and the biggest of all comes right here. He hasn't caught it today. This is a Kovacs.
And there goes Trent Demas, and he too is out of it, the Americans. So in the first 3 competitors on the high bar, we've not seen an outstanding performance. Liukin a 9-4, Lee fell, Demas fell, and that kind of opens it up for Sherba and Kroll, who is very much, although he fell last night, and Lance Ringnaugh.
Getting a little bit of advice from his coach, Ed Birch, from Albuquerque, New Mexico, up there, called Gold Cup Gymnastics. Let's see if Lance can put together a good effort for the rest of the way, although it is academic at this point. Very nice to Tkachev, and there's that Ginger skill we talked about. Named after the man who is head judge on this event. He has a big dismount. This is a triple back somersault. And not a bad landing, a big hop. That was more for pride at that point. You know, Trent had his hands on the bar. We saw the Chinese gymnast a little bit earlier miss the bar totally. Trent actually put both hands on the bar. He just was not in the proper alignment to hold on all the way. Let's see if we can see what went wrong here. Here's his Kovacs over the bar. Good distance. Well, I see exactly what happened there. When he was going to re-grasp the bar, his hands don't completely wrap around the bar. He hits his wrist a little bit first, and it just bounces him right off. Let's watch. You see that? His hands don't contact the bar first, and when you're falling that quickly from such a height, there is no way you're going to stay on. But this is pretty good. Triple back somersault, holds onto it just a wee bit too long and has to take that small hop back.
Ironic that Trent Demas, the man who triggered the high ball excellence for the United States in the team championships on Friday, Ed Birch, that's his reaction when he saw Trent fall. But Trent Demas, it's a 3. But he's still Sherba as you look on live. The score he must beat is 9.825, just turned in by Shaba Faikas of Hungary. So Sherba, Wow, Rubio for the scratch, Silvio Kroll, and Lance Ringnaugh. And here comes Sherba.
His last attempt to win Another gold at these 1990 Goodwill Games. Certainly a star to be reckoned with, not only in the future, but right now. This skill is so beautiful. This is a tucked Gaylord. And he does it like that every time. That's the thing that's amazing. We've seen all these falls here this evening. Just beautiful work. He's so poised, so composed. Watch his dismount, double twisting, double layout. Oh, and just a small step. That look, I tell you, that, you know, I had that landing. You see him clench his fists a little bit. He's happy, but he wanted to stick that one.
He is looking for his 4th gold medal of these Goodwill Games and his 2nd of the evening. He's already won the vault, remember.
This kid is something else. Watch this here. This is a Gaylord 1. That does it better by far than anybody in the world. And exactly like that every time. He goes right into a one-arm combination. Into a reverse hex.
990, he's our leader.
Let's take a look here. Hands exactly where they're supposed to be. Once again, show you just how critical that is, doing a 1 3/4 flips forward over the bar. However, that 9-9 does still leave the door open, and we have competitors that are capable of scoring higher than that.
Sherba the leader. Maikus is 2nd from Hungary, and here's Guo Linyao of China. To follow him, Rubio of Spain, and finally Lance Ringnauld of the USA.
The difficulty on high bar has just exploded in the past year. Everybody just seems to be pushing each other a little bit further. Watch this release. Gaylord 2. A little bit of a problem coming out of it, but held form very well. Very nice reverse heck right into a Ginger. You know, all the most difficult skills he's dealing with very well. However, the transitional skills, the kips, he's having just a bit of a problem with. His dismount, a full twisting double layout. Oh,
lost it.
That's too bad. Beautiful routine. He had a legitimate shot there to have a gold all to himself. He tied for the gold on parallel bars. I don't think that's going to be enough, however.
The Chinese with this young team, Tim, have done rather well. A bronze tonight and a tie for a gold so far.
Look at this combination here. This is a reverse Hecht or a Tkachev right into that Ginger we talked about, named after Eberhard Ginger, the head judge on this event. And you notice he just struggles a little bit there, has a little bit of a knee flick. And then, of course, he took the 2 little steps on the dismount, which will certainly grade him down lower than a 9.9, I would think.
2 competitors remain. Rubio for the scratch Silvio Kroll, who fell in this event last night, and Lance Ringnauld, who, like Demas, a gold medalist, they tied in our national championships in Denver. Demas has already fallen.
Well, you know, Lance,
Ringnauld, remember last night and in the team champ, he was the last man to go in the event of the Floor X. And the night before that, he was one of the last to go in the high bar. So Lance has been there before.
Oh, yeah, he is a veteran, and I'm sure he'll hopefully deal with the pressure quite well. Lance has had such a successful Goodwill Games. But he wants to bring the gold home, I'm sure.
9.775 at the moment. That is good enough for 3rd. The bronze.